Hi everyone, in this video we're going to be going over several of the steps to finish up the basket. As you can see, I have done quite a few rows of twining. I think I was at about 6 when I reached the end of my weaver here, the round, and I'm just going to remind you of the way to replace this in twining. It's the same as the twining that we did on the base. I have gone past it with one weaver, and I did re-wet these just to make sure as they get dry they can break. So we want to keep our weavers wet, and we can do that by just dipping it back in the water over here. I have the red basin is for the colored reed and the white basin is for the natural reed. I'm going to just pick up, I've gone one past the weaver that I want to replace, and I'm going to pull it back, stick the new one in the hole, which we call pick up the dog's tail, and then now I can just keep going. I'm going to go over. Now this has a little tail that's sticking out, so I am going to cut that off. Let's see if I can show you here a little bit better. This could get in my way, but I'm going to cut it off a little bit, but not completely. I will do the complete cutoff and show you that at the very end. But I'm just going to keep going with my weavers here, and I will stop again when I get around to my last row. Let me see here. I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 rows. I want to do 2 more rows of twining, and then I will show you how to end the twining and pick up again with the 3 Rod Wale for the top part. So I'm just going to pause, and then I will be back to show you that. Okay, I just wanted to show you how I'm going to end this twining. My starting spoke is the one with the S, which is right here. And I don't want to make another pass on it because that would make a 9th row. I've actually made 8 rows, and I don't want to end with a pass that would make it a 9th. So I'm actually going to bring this one on the left, the weaver on the left, over and cut it so that it ends behind the starting spoke. So I'm going to show you first by cutting it, and then I'll show you that I'm going to bring it over the one on the right and tuck it behind the starting spoke. Okay, so it's tucked behind there. And now with this piece that's left, again, I don't want to go all the way over and under the next because that would make 9 rows. So I'm simply going to, if I can get down here so you can see it, I'm simply going to cut this one off like we did the dog's tail. Just cut it off, and it just has a little tail here, and I will get rid of that later. So as always, I do like to just kind of clip this while I'm doing the next step just so it is secured. But that is the way we end the twining. And now I've been alluding to this. Let me move out here so you can actually see this basket now. I'm going to fix the camera from a wider view. Now, all this time, I have been allowing the spokes to flare out, and I have a kind of a gentle upslope on my basket. But at this point, I don't want it to do that anymore. I actually want it to start coming in slightly. And the way we're going to be able to do that is we'll need to wet all of these spokes again, and I will show you how to shape them. What I learned about shaping baskets is there are a lot of different techniques, but what some weavers do is they use tension to push in on the spokes. But when they are flaring out, you're kind of working against yourself. So what I learned helped me the most was to get the spokes going in the direction I want them to go, and then just weave with those spokes already in the direction that I want them to go. So I'm going to show you that next. To do that, I'm going to have to dip them in the water all the way up to about where my color is. And I can get the color a little bit wet, that's not a problem. But I want to get these wet, and then I'll show you how to shape them. Okay, I don't know how well you can see this, but I have wet the spokes, and I have started massaging these spokes so that they stand more upright. If you look now, these are not done yet, so they're still flaring out, but the others are standing more upright. So let me show you just kind of what I'm doing here. I'm going to start with one of the ones that's still flaring out. And I am literally just bending it up its length so that now it is pointing more in rather than flaring. I'll do this next one to show you. And these are nice and flexible now because they're wet, and I'm just basically bending them in and saying, okay, I want you to go this way now, not flare out anymore. So almost all the way around. You can actually kind of bend them in like this too. Just again, I'm telling it, stop flaring out. Okay, that's where my little clip is, but I can just work around it. I'm almost all the way around, telling it stop flaring out. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of bend these all. They're very flexible at this point because they're wet. And I don't know if you can see this now, they have a slight bend inward. They're no longer flaring out. There's a little variation among them, but that's okay. It will be taken care of in the next step that we do. And what we're going to be doing next is the 3-rod wale again. So you'll need your 3 natural round reed and your 3 colored round reed. And I made a mistake in my sample basket because I put the natural one on top. And what we want the natural one close to the color. So we're going to actually put the color on top this time when we put the 3 stakes behind. I'm going to quickly demonstrate the 3-rod wale again so that you can see it. But if you need to go back, and if you need to see more detailed about it and how to do the step up, just go back to the video that talks about how to do the 3-rod wale. So you can see that. And so let me show you quickly again, and then I'll refer you back to that other video. And then finally, our last thing to do before we start to work on the rim is to do the 5 rows of 1/4 inch flat. Once again, it's the same as we did down here. The one thing that I will recommend to you is to match we always start over. So you're going to be looking for a spoke that has a 1/4 inch flat down here over, and start your one interrupted weave on that same pattern so that you have over and over at the top. Just makes it look nicer. Most people probably wouldn't notice that, but that's more of a professional basket maker thing, so that it's consistent. All right, I'm going to get my 3-rod wale ready to go, and then I will demonstrate that for you. All right, I have soaked all my reed, the natural and the color. I've wiped down the color twice to make sure that it's not going to bleed onto the natural. And I have now put each pair between 3 consecutive spokes, with this time with the color on top instead of the natural, so that the natural is next to our twining, and that gives a nice contrast. So remember that the 3-rod wale is, you start all the way from the left, the farthest one to the left, you go over 2, behind 1, and out, and that keeps them in consecutive spaces. Over 2, to get them untangled, over 2, behind 1, and out, and I'm checking, yep, it's the next space, so that's correct. Over 2, behind 1, and out. And there goes my spiral starting up on the top. And again, because it's the natural next to the twining color, it adds a lot. This is the mistake I made on the sample basket. It actually shows the contrast better. All right, I'm going to go all the way around until I get back to where I started, the starting spoke, and then I will demonstrate the step up one more time. All right, I have gone all the way around with my spiral weave, trying as best I can to keep the natural on the bottom. It's tough. You probably experienced that as well. It's kind of tough to keep it that way sometimes. All right, so to end it, once again, I'm going to try to get up here where you can see it really well, really close. Now, I have not gone past where I started. This is the starting spoke for the 3-rod wale. And I'm going to take the clip off so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go over 2 and then put this one behind the 3rd. I'm going to do this with all 3, and then I'll go back and clip them. The second one to the left, starting from the right now, over 2 and behind. And the 3rd one from the left, over 2, and behind. And now I'm going to go in there and clip those off from the inside, and then I'll put or cut them off, and then I'll put a clip on there just to secure it and demonstrate once again how to start your interrupted weave. So as we finished with the color in the middle, and now we're going to go back to the flat 1/4 inch for natural, all the way up to where we want to start the rim.